Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just cranking away here,
Same here. I love
finishing
it.
up the morning round of calls and stuff.
Sweet. Where are you based out of?
Tampa, Florida, Tampa area. We're actually closest to like Clearwater Beach.
Nice. You look like a Florida guy. You look like you enjoy yourself in the sun and on the beach. So
We
I
do.
wouldn't
Well, my
expect
wife and I are
anything
both
less.
from the Northeast, but we like it down here. It's really fun.
Where in the Northeast are you from?
Connecticut?
Okay, sweet. No, yeah,
Yeah.
one of my business partners is from Boston. We're based out here in Dallas, Texas now.
Okay, cool. So tell
Yes,
me a
sir.
little bit about yourself, man. What do you guys do? Like, what's the whole business about?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I'm 23, so I always grew up playing, football. So I played college football here at Texas Tech. And so right when COVID hit is when I was playing. And so right when COVID hit, I started an online business, like a clothing brand, and we started posting on TikTok, and we're super early on TikTok. Like back in COVID is when TikTok kind of started. And so I got connected with a bunch of like younger fitness influencers. Right when like having 30,000 followers on Instagram on TikTok was like a lot at the time. And so I got connected. And then over that first year of actually launching the brand, we were doing a seven-figure run rate. And I was literally running out of
Wow.
my parents' garage at 19, 20 years old. And so I got hit up by a bunch of like supplement brands because I'm here in Dallas. So there's like Rise, Pro Sups, Man Sports, like all of the big hitter supplement brands are here. And so they were asking me, dude, like, how'd you do this? Like, could you help us? And so my partner, Pat, now he was actually running like Facebook ads for my brand. And so I asked him like, dude, how do we like service these people? And like, cause I didn't know much about like the agency space. I just kind of like was making YouTube videos and content. I was sort of like that guy. And so we partnered and actually came up with services. And this was back in, 2021. And so we've been working with some of the top brands and, we work with Hani Rambod and Evogen FST7. So we started running his coaching platform, and we've worked with Jason Brown and like a lot of like these big coaches and big fitness brands, and really like master digital marketing for them. So like ads, email, the full customer journey and experience. And so now I'm really just trying to like connect with as many like-minded individuals as possible. So that's why I have this podcast where I just am able to like leave the connections. And then if we're able to, help or someone's like, hey, well, I love what we talked about. Like, how could you help us? Or like, I just like to put like free value out there and just like to connect with people. And so that's sort of what we're about. So we've been doing it for the agency for about like 3 years now, and I've been in the game for like 4 or 5 years now. So
Oh,
it's pretty
wow.
cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you
Yes,
seem
sir.
highly successful for a young man of your
Yes,
stature.
sir. No, that's
Most
that's
people work
that's
their entire lives trying to build a seven-figure business, and it's so funny how much things have changed in the past couple of years, but especially from the time that I came up as a young coach in the fitness industry, and where it's at now is completely different. It's pretty cool.
exactly. No, yeah,
Uh,
that's why I think it's cool because like think a few years ago I realized like a lot of like I worked with some people that I worked with was like, yo, don't say your age, like whatever, like you're younger a lot and you're talking to all these like 40, 50-year-old CEOs and CMOs and stuff. Like, don't say your age. But now I've really realized like actually it's like our age and like the customer demographic that I sort of fall under, it's like sort of an advantage for us just because with like digital marketing and like paid advertising, all this is like such a buzzword and like TikTok and TikTok shop. It's like so like our generation. And so that's why I'm like blessed to be able to like, be in this sort of space I'm in now. So it's cool. And I get to like meet really cool people. My team gets to go out to like the Olympia, the Arnold, and like film and do all that cool stuff. So I think it's pretty fun. And so now I'm just obviously just trying to like connect with as many people as I can. Um, yeah, dude. So pretty much, yeah, like this conversation, I want to talk a little bit just like more about like the behind the scenes and the business behind online
sure.
coaching because, we obviously like help build and scale online fitness coaches. And so me personally, I want to learn more about more people and then hopefully, provide some value of like what I'm seeing and like just have a genuine conversation, 15, 30 minutes, and just get to know a little bit more about you. So obviously you're the owner of Thunder Bro. I've been going through your content, maybe had a little bit more giggles than, than I thought I would. Cause a lot of these online fitness coaches are taking stuff super seriously, but I feel like you're taking stuff serious, but you also have like that funny element and like the comedy, and I love the content. It's like super sick.
Yeah,
So tell
I
me,
think fitness should be fun and brutal and rewarding.
yeah,
That's what it's about. Just like having fun with your buddies in the garage, getting out of hand, slinging iron, and making gains. And I think a lot of people kind of lose that sometimes,
yeah,
right? They lose that that joy, that fun, that community, that camaraderie that goes along with it, and this as a football player, you always see those scenes of like the whole team around a guy doing a 1 rep max power clean. He's like, fucking yeah.
yeah,
I came from the world of competitive sports. So I started as a professional baseball player and then got into traditional strength and conditioning and then CrossFit. And in CrossFit, I was part of their educational staff for over a decade. I taught 400 seminars, probably trained over 17,000 trainers on the methodology, along with myself and my wife as competitors. And we really love that community, right? It's so much fun. It's a great way to get people moving again. But we noticed ourselves that we got to a point where we felt we were kind of aging out of it, right?
hmm,
Like getting injured, no longer making progress. And I think our story is very similar to the story of all of our clients. They're people who are lifelong athletes who love movement, really find a lot of joy. They need to train. They need to train hard. But it gets really discouraging when things get taken away where you're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do 1 rep max squat snatches anymore without dislocating my shoulder or
yeah,
having these things come up, and it really it really can land you in a place where you feel like your dick is in the dirt, right? Because you're like,
yeah,
it's all downhill from there. Well, Thunder Bro is the answer to that, right? It's the next step. It's being able to train smarter so that you can train harder and still continue to see progress. And what we do is we take what we know from high performance training, training to be the fittest man, the fittest woman on earth, and all these really cool high utility, functional movements that are all about athletic performance. And we combine it and pair it with advanced bodybuilding concepts. We say, no, still train like an athlete, but maybe the way that you're doing it's a little bit different. And for athletes that they all know how to move really well, right? They all know how to deadlift
hmm,
and squat and press and do Olympic lifts. So they have those skills that are, really good bang for your buck movements that are going to provide a good return. And they understand how to train hard just by setting some bumper lanes and parameters. Typically what we see is people who are on the downtrend all of a sudden start to skyrocket because of, just using a little bit more strategy beyond the formula of, just doing random stuff as hard as you possibly can every single day. Now just using some good basic strategy, being able to, maximize recovery and help people do what they probably initially set foot in the gym to do, which is to look great and to feel good. It allows them to blend performance and aesthetics together in a method of training that's a lot more sustainable than the competitive, I'm trying to be the fittest man on earth or fittest woman on earth mantra. So that for us was a great starting point, right? To be the initial seed in CrossFit. And my wife, she went and won the CrossFit Games. Like I said, a lot of people knew me as an
that's sick.
educator in CrossFit. So we already had an audience. And so now having people that trust us and find us credible, be able to educate them on like, hey, I had this back surgery and here's what I'm doing to continue to train hard. And my wife's too, she dislocated her shoulder terribly and had to have a full arm reconstruction. Being able to show them, that we go through that stuff just like them and that there's a process and, finding a way to win and even maybe even in some cases use it as a strength to be able to turn that obstacle and use it as a way to level yourself up. That's really what we try to focus on. And we have fun catchphrases for it, bringing thunder in the gym, in the bedroom, in the kitchen, as a husband, as a wife, as a father, as a businessman. It's really just finding that vibrato, kind of like that healthy level of masculinity that makes you feel like the superhero you wanted to be when you were growing up, that big version of yourself.
Yeah, that's sick, dude. I like that. You took a lot of the words out of my mouth because I was going to touch on you talking about bridging the gap between aesthetics and performance. I saw that all over your pages. And I think, especially me, I connected with that because, like I said, me playing college football and stuff, like the way that we train, like we have a lot of conditioning. It's not like us bodybuilding, walking on the treadmill for an hour, like, doing stuff like that. Like I love sprinting, but I also love, you know, doing functional training, but I also love looking good and doing, bodybuilding stuff. So like doing everything, but I wouldn't consider myself like a CrossFitter per se. And I'm not doing like power cleans or snatches or anything, but I love, deadlifting with the boys and squatting and benching and doing all those compound lifts. So that's sort of like that vibe. You would totally resonate with my old clothing brand. Like we would just like deadlift in the gym on YouTube videos and just have fun. And so like I really connect with that. And I think it really is like that you bring that team culture too. Like, cause that's what I see even in the background. I see like the whole team and all the clients that you have. Like
Oh yeah,
I
these
like
are
that you're
our, we have C's of these before and afters to show people that, when you get to the point where you feel like it's all downhill from here, that might just be the beginning. There might be all these things that are just undiscovered and unexplored that you didn't even realize you had that potential. And I love hearing people say like, hey, I'm in the best aesthetic of my life at the age of 45, doing things that they didn't think they'd be able to do. And you mentioned it with regard to training, man. Like, you have all these camps in training, right? So you have like CrossFit, powerlifting, sports performance, and whatever,
yeah,
P90X, Orange Theory. And by themselves, right, they're all fundamentally flawed just based on the things that they omit. Because
yeah,
I think the truth is the best training program is one that has a lot of different elements in it, right? So you're not limited. And that's one of the things I saw in CrossFit was like, man, there's so much emphasis on just athletic performance. But if they just incorporated some good hypertrophy training, some targeted bodybuilding work, not only would that help increase performance and reduce injuries for people who are just running themselves into the ground, but I think for 99% of people who are going in the gym because they want to look good and feel good, if you're doing a training program and you don't love the way you look, or if you're doing it and you're constantly hurt, you got to change something.
yeah,
And so like it's providing those avenues for people, the solutions to those questions. And the big questions are, how do I continue to train hard as I get older? How do I continue to see progress when I've plateaued? And then having that community, that camaraderie of brotherhood of guys who are, kind of going through a bit of a mental regression for 45 minutes in the gym, just
yeah.
throwing out.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the next thing I really want to touch on is like your offerings and stuff because I went through and like looked through your whole account and everything, and I saw you have like, the 30-day shred challenge, you have the 90-day get huge program, you have tons of just like single one-off training programs that you can, subscription models on, Trainer Heroic and stuff. And then you also have your one-on-one coaching. So you have all these different, offerings. What do you see most success in, and like you know, what do you find most enjoyment in?
Well, by far, the vast majority of our income is in subscription training, and our kind of hallmark MVP is our Muscle Anarchy program, which, I love so much because it's so unique to the space. It's the program that in my mind is the ultimate expression of advanced bodybuilding crashing into functional fitness and functional movements, where we're using all these really awesome techniques, these intensification methods with drop sets and supersets and overload eccentrics and isometrics and shocker sets, just all kinds of really cool, neat stuff that most people have never done before. And we're taking them away from just machines that they were traditionally done on and applying it to barbells and dumbbells so people can practice them with functional movements. And for people who've been like deadlifting for a really long time, back squatting, doing all these lifts before, it's almost like reinventing training for them because they're like, wow, I never knew the 95-pound barbell could be that hard, because they've never really looked at it through that lens of hypertrophy. And we leverage, a couple different main mechanisms, muscle tension, micro tearing, metabolic stress. These are things that kind of correlate with rep ranges and loading spectrums. But we try to kind of cast a wide net and give people exposure to a lot of stuff, which even for the traditional gym goer is pretty refreshing, because it's not just like 3 sets of 10 with the tempo. It's some really nasty high level stuff that, you're able to do now in your garage gym. And then the offerings kind of branch out, right? So we want to be able to customize this for people based on, what they want and how fast they want it, but also what their needs and goals are. So we've got versions of the program that are express, that are just 45 minutes, hit it and quit it. We've got a Globo Gym version. This is our machine head program we launched this year that's crushing it, which is all the stuff, all the intensification methods, but actually on machines, because a lot of our CrossFit, athletes that we train, they all have like a Gold's Gym membership somewhere where they just want to put their headphones on and not be bothered,
Yeah.
or have somebody judging them based on their squat snatch technique or something like that. We have programs for limited equipment, right? So, during the pandemic, one of the first launches we put out was Dumbbell Anarchy, which is the same thing if you just got dumbbells and a set of bands, but it's a killer fucking program. And then we started to overlap, and this is the big thing I think a lot of coaches miss is like, the training is great, right? And I think a lot of people are interested in the training first, but they really underplay the importance of nutrition, because if you're able to integrate nutrition systems with the training, you end up with this. You end up with amazing before and afters that are undeniable, that really validate your method and your efficacy, but are something where at the end of the day, it's just about results, right? Like results are king. And for us, it's about the breadth and depth of results. So we started, putting together packages of training and nutrition for specific goals. So some people come to us, I'd say the vast majority of our challenge members are in our 30-day shred challenge. So this is a challenge where we combine training, nutrition, and one-on-one coaching, where athletes are doing weekly check-ins for 30 days, and we're updating their macronutrients. That's how many calories and how much protein, carbs, and fat they're eating, as a percentage of those calories each week based on their progress. We have a whole kind of lifestyle system where they have schedules, a supplement plan that goes on top of it, and they're able to accomplish really incredible things in 30 days. So even for somebody who might think, hey, Thunder Bro's not for me, it's Thunder Bro, it's kind of like a boys club. The
Yeah.
30-day shred is a great entry point for new athletes where maybe the idea of just being jacked doesn't resonate with them, but they do want to lose some body fat. They do want to lose some weight. And I think that weight loss, fat loss category is probably the most sought after category where you're going to capture the most people. So, being able to do a good job with that takes, let's say, a 40-year-old or 50-year-old woman who may think Thunder Bro is not for her. And just by doing the challenge and having success, now she gets exposed to the training and she's like, whoa, I really like this. This is not what I thought it was going to be at all. And most people, it's hard to kind of, really explain what you're doing until they actually do it. When you do it, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. This is not the old cookie cutter way of doing stuff. And so that's a really big challenge for us. The other one we have is maybe for like younger guys, right? So maybe younger guys who haven't reached muscle maturity, maybe endurance athletes who are really trying to fill up their frame and are like, I'm having such a hard time just putting on muscle and putting on weight. Well, we have our 90-day Get Huge challenge, where again, we combine training, nutrition, and coaching. And, this is again, a highly successful system where in 90 days, we might put 30 pounds on an athlete, get them into our before and after montage, and be able to, prove with visual representation how much these programs actually work. These are kind of the feeder systems for getting people into subscription though, because, you want to create a accessible entry point with a very, very high value. That's almost an irresistible deal. So for instance, in the shred, one-on-one macros coaching, the market value for that is probably about $300 a month. The online training they're getting is $50 a month. A written out PDF guide with, all the ins and outs of how to understand fat loss and understand the system, and a full meal plan book, that's probably another $100. So we're giving people $450 worth of value in a $99 purchase, which makes it easy for us to take that person who may, is like, doesn't really know us, is like, oh, I'm going to try that. Pair that with a good ad with lots of killer before and afters and a little bit of credibility of, being able to demonstrate, what you're talking about. And now you have a really cool funnel that you can use to create new clients. And we do a fantastic job cannibalizing our clients because, when people come to Thunder Bro, they don't just like come and leave. They're usually with us for months or years even. So once they're in subscription, they'll do a challenge. They'll do Muscle Anarchy for a few months. Maybe they want to gain weight in the wintertime and bulk up. Oh shit, summer's coming. Let's do a shred challenge. And then, some people want stuff that's like me a little bit more personalized for them sometimes. Sometimes people want to work directly with me or directly with my wife. So we have these one-on-one options that allow them to book a call with us for an hour where we write them like a customized, fully written out diet and schedule. We hook them up with the right training plan. And then they just like check in with us via text, every week for the month. And they usually schedule one call a month. And then we have a premium tier where it's the kitchen sink, right? They're going to
Yep.
get medical, they're going to get lifestyle coaching. They do a weekly call for counseling. We write them a customized training plan, we write them a customized diet, and we really get to work in an intense fashion for somebody who, and these are usually people who are either one, desperate for results, like I'll do anything to achieve X. Perfect. You put a lot of skin in the game and I'll make sure that you get there. All you got to do is run the plays. The rest is on me. That's what that one is. And then sometimes people that, obviously have the disposable income that are kind of really into that concept of thriving through their life. So we have a lot of people in that program who are, successful CEOs and businessmen and businessmen and high performers. They're well educated. They've already researched a lot of this stuff. They understand about peptides and regenerative medicine and training. This is not just something they do, but this is a hobby and a passion for them. And they want that coach that they can trust to work tightly with to kind of keep their ass in line, so to speak.
Yeah.
So there's entry point stuff, there's high level stuff, but our bread and butter is just getting people into the subscription and giving them something that they can't get anywhere else with that subscription.
Yeah, that's awesome because that's literally what I preach to all of our clients. And so pretty much our main mission as a company is it boils all down to customer acquisition cost and lifetime value. So acquiring customers for as cheap as possible and keeping them around for as long as you possibly can. And that's what we tell our partners is like once you nail down your product, like exactly what you're doing, your customer journey to where you have something a no-brainer offer on the front end to get people in the door. And if the value proposition is there and you're giving them just flooding them with so much value that they're sticking with you for months and years and the lifetime value is just skyrocketing, then you're able to scale. That's when you can actually achieve scale. So if you're a coach watching this right now, I think Dave, like this is a great example of someone that's just like, you have your product dialed in. You can tell you have so much passion in what you're putting in to your customers and your clients. And that's where you need to be at to achieve scale. Because if you don't have that, like, a agency or a growth partner like us, it's not going to work if you don't have your product dialed in because we're not going to build that for you. Like you guys are the experts. And if you have that dialed in, that's when you really get that client ascension and you're able to increase lifetime value. And whenever you're starting to flood in with new cold audience members and new clients, then it's just easy to like upsell them throughout the entire journey and then ascend them to your high ticket to where you're not just like, okay, you're booking cold calls with, people that you're trying to close high ticket. They've been with you for 6, 7, 8 months. They did your challenge. They, have been subscribed. They understand you. They've been watching your content. Then it's just like easy because you built that trust with them, and
Yeah,
that's
and
literally what you're
you
doing
need to
through
nurture
everything.
it, right? It's a community, and that's one of the big changes, in the evolution of fitness now. As things move online, you go from a coach in a gym who's has that community in a physical space and the members there that are going to be there to support each other. And now, the good thing is your gym is unlimited online, but you lose that personal connection, right? You don't get to see them
Yep.
every day. You don't necessarily know who they are and they don't know other people. And so creating that community takes effort.
Yep.
Being able to facilitate that, getting to know, talking to the people, posting on the Facebook groups, finding touch points with them. Like that's really, really important. Just regular communication and almost like nurturing that, like you're watering a plant
Yep.
uh, to be able to grow that. And like, with Thunderbro, if you run a business, right, you have to make money to keep
Hmm.
the lights on. That's important, right? But I think a lot of
Yep.
people focus too much on the numerical bottom line. And what I would suggest keeping in mind is like, what is your ultimate goal, right? So for our goal, it's breadth and depth of impact. So how many people can we reach and how impactful can we affect them so that all they want to do is talk about the cool shit they're doing at Thunderbro, or people are like, what the hell happened to you, dude? What are you doing? Like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Because if that's there, the income follows, right? So doing a really good job with that and creating the community is something that I think a lot of people skip. They just, send somebody a PDF or whatever, but
Yep.
there's no active facilitation. So we'll do small things where, for instance, in our subscription, we do a weekly giveaway where people get free Thunderbro swag for posting about their training, right? We'll do stuff where every once in a while, I'll say, if any of you guys are in Tampa, hit me up. I'll have them come over the house for a workout and we'll film them. We'll do a client highlight on them. Every single month, we'll have like a client highlight and we'll, elevate somebody and blast it out to 20,000, email subscribers to like, look at this dude. He's so cool. He's one of our members. We'll have our staff of coaches every day actively in there answering questions, but also like nurturing the roots of Thunderbro, like putting fun memes out, like you said, like just
Yeah.
like understanding this is not
Those
like just a
animations
serious
that you
log your workout kind of thing. Like this is about work hard, have fun, bring thunder. And so
Yeah.
you got to have your soldiers on the field actively building that culture and that community. And then making sure that every opportunity that you have to have a positive interaction with somebody is something you're taking advantage of, even if that interaction starts with somebody complaining at you. That's really where it's at. I want everyone, talking about Thunderbro is like, man, those guys are fucking awesome.
Yep. That's awesome. So with that being said, I know you have 107,000 IG followers, your brand page, like you're very active on socials and like you're actually absolutely crushing organic. So what do your acquisition funnels look like? And I know probably just from hearing what you're doing right now with like all the crazy like customer experience you have, you probably have a lot of word of mouth as well. But what are
Well,
your
it's
like
funny.
your
I,
main
I think as a
acquisition
business,
funnels?
that's probably been our weakest point, right?
Yeah.
Because this is a business that happened by accident. Like I said, I was teaching seminars for CrossFit. I was, showing people what I was doing. Hey, I went through this back surgery. Now I'm starting to incorporate some hypertrophy training. And a buddy of mine, who was also a staff member on CrossFit, um, he was doing the workouts with me and he's like, oh, this stuff is so cool. We had the idea of creating a testosterone boosting coffee, right? So we're like, hey, let's make a testosterone boosting coffee where we'll put like D-aspartic acid and ashwagandha and tonga ali into a coffee because we like drinking coffee and we take all these testosterone boosters.
Yeah.
And so we were going to do that, and it was going to be called Thunderbro Coffee. And we set up a Shopify site and put the coffee up, and immediately the coffee got taken down by the risk assessment team, who said like, you can't sell that here, like even though it was just a placeholder, the product didn't even exist yet.
Yeah.
But along with that, I was writing essentially the manifest of Thunderbro, which is an instructional book called Hypertrophy for Functional Fitness. So we put this ebook up there, and then we put like a training program, just a PDF training program to go with it. And I remember being so nervous when we launched this that my buddy, because we went like, we both put money in, that my buddy
Yeah.
was going to lose his money because we did this site and we spent a couple $1,000s on t-shirts and web design and an ebook.
Yeah.
And within the first, I want to say it was within the first 3 hours, we made our money back. And we were like, holy shit, there is a huge demand for what we're talking about. And the audience we're speaking to understands that. And so we saw massive organic growth doing nothing. Like I would just post on my Instagram and we're getting thousands of dollars of sales every month just from posting on Instagram and selling PDFs like crazy.
Yeah.
And then we realized like maybe we should do an email campaign for these people. We got some new products coming out and maybe it would be worth, maybe boosting a sponsored ad or something like that. And so we did that and we had success with that. But it's definitely not our jam. And the landscape of that has really
Changed.
changed. And
Yeah.
that's been my biggest growth process as a business owner now, is like having this go from a business by accident to actually learning the ins and outs of what it takes to market in a landscape that's evolving. Because even between now and pre-COVID, that whole marketing landscape has changed. Like you can't post an Instagram video that's longer than 30 seconds now, right? It's not going to
Yeah.
get any viewers. There are all these different platforms. It's pretty intricate and it's always kind of changing. So that's a nut we're constantly trying to crack.
Mhm.
But also being able to like understand, you build a repertoire of marketing, right? So you have your tools, and you need to be almost diversifying that constantly, right?
Yep.
Because the more diversity you have, you can be like, oh shit, the Facebook ads aren't playing. That's
Hmm.
fine. We got the Google ads that are going. Oh, the Google ads aren't working. No problem. We're going to blast more email campaigns and email captures for new people. We'll do an ebook giveaway just to get, a couple thousand new email addresses or something like that.
Exactly.
So it's something that is really most people, most real fitness practitioners. It's not a skill set you learn in
Hmm.
the essentials of strength and conditioning at all. Um, and I find that a lot of the people that are amazing at marketing are usually terrible practitioners. And a lot of people that are amazing practitioners are usually terrible at marketing because they think, well, I'm good enough at what I do, so I don't need to learn that. But the truth is, your weakness exactly describes your need,
Yeah.
because
It's
you're
a
going to
yin
be
and
severely
yang.
limited, right?
Yeah, it's for sure yin and yang. And that's literally like what we found. Like our best partnerships are with people, like yourself and, some of the, really high level coaches that are so in depth with their product. It's just like they just need that little push because, like you said, it's always evolving, always changing. Like what you have right now with like your shred challenge, your get huge program, all these training guides and everything that you have. It's like you said, diversifying just so like, you're able to like have that experience and have so many different touch points and just like being everywhere and all funneling it back into one thing. And that's
Yes.
literally like the whole strategy of it is like making a cohesive strategy because that's another thing too. For coaches, it's tough because there's so many like I like to call them gurus out there where it's like these marketing gurus that okay, they're gonna come in and run your ads. Okay, but they're not going to look at the whole picture. They may not have like that fitness background, or they may not, be. It's sort of like hard to align. You need to look at
We've
the
had
whole
some epic
picture.
fails on that
It,
front. We've had a
it's
number of marketing companies we work with and be like, this is terrible. They're creating these landing pages that are not at all who we are. It's the right, 'cause
yeah,
we have intelligent customers. They understand,
but
they're a
yeah,
pretty well-educated customer base. The average CrossFitter is like, they know what this stuff means, right? So they're going to see through bullshit, or just like saying stuff, we try to here's what's really hard, right? It takes a lifetime to build credibility and a reputation and integrity, but it takes a moment to ruin it,
yep, yep,
right? So you got to be really careful for those of you that are trying to build good credibility and integrity. You can't allow the little things to slip through the cracks. I have people who are
exactly.
kind of I call them our colleagues or competitors who are caught for things like photoshopping the before and afters of their clients or
Yeah.
just saying shit that's like technically wrong, right?
Hmm.
So you have to take a lot of pride in that. And I think having that combo of like if you are using a marketing agency, first, I think it's important that you use the marketing agency, but also use them to educate you,
Yep.
right? Get to the point where you are your own marketing expert, where you know what they're doing and why they're doing it, because you can't just be like, you do it, I'm just going to sit back, right? You need to know how that's going to run. And
Yeah. Yep.
like I didn't know what the word funnel even meant a few years ago. Like, what? I don't know
Yeah.
what do you mean funnel? Like a funnel for put protein powder in? Like, what do you mean? And I've learned a lot more and more, even about like landing pages. I'm like, what the fuck is a landing page? You mean a website?
Yeah.
But now, like we're trying to in the realm of diversity, like find these products we mentioned, right? So we got all these
Mhm.
different entry points and almost create a storyline around them and that customer journey of like, okay,
Yep.
here's what they're going to see. They're going to see something that talks about, a metabolic reset and, to see a sample of what your targeted nutrient, timing schedule can look like, click on the link and we're going to give you something free. And then they hit a landing page and we give them some free value or some free information or even a free download. And then on there, go down a couple more spaces and like, oh, now there's a thing where I can purchase the entire thing, at a really good price. Cool. Now you've got them, right? But it takes a lot of work to map out those journeys and to
Hmm.
build the landing pages and to come up with the hooks because you can become very prideful of your knowledge and expertise and information and be like, I shouldn't have to dance around like a monkey. And you shouldn't, but you still need to get new people in. So you got to find a way to balance integrity with entertainment too,
Exactly.
or just the ability to hook somebody because it's not one or the other. You want to be kind of like what they call in baseball. You want to be a five-tool player with your business. You want to have all the stuff dialed.
Exactly. That's awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate like just all the insights. Like I know you're going very much so into detail, and I think it's good for people to see because like I said, like it's really like understanding how the game works. It's like you got to look at it from like the big picture always. It's not just like one thing. It's not just the product. It's not just the marketing. It's not like just these little things. So you got to look at the full picture. You got to understand, especially when you're going into business and you're going into partnerships. It's like you need to find people that fit your weaknesses. Like if you are a really skilled marketer and, then you need to find that, yin and yang type effect. Or if you're a really great coach and you have awesome programs and stuff, you're really changing people's lives. It's like, then you want to get it out to more people because your product's going to be awesome and it's just going to be able to scale. And then you got to find that, marketing team or whoever it may be. So it's always just like finding the missing pieces in your puzzle. And that's literally it. Like that's probably what you're telling your clients too. It's like always, and it always takes time. You're not going to find that overnight. And yes, you're probably going to get burned by people that aren't looking full picture. Like it's not an overnight thing. You're not going to turn on ads and just be like, oh my gosh, I'm making money. It's like what you're telling your clients. Like you got to, put in the work, put in the time. It's discipline. It's going to take, months to be able to see your results. And that's exactly what you're doing with your clients, which is awesome. Just to wrap things up, this great conversation. What are your goals in 2024? Like, what are you looking to achieve? Could be business, personal. Like, what is really like your driving factor right now? And
So
where do you see yourself being in end of
we have a
2024?
number of like specific goals, right? So there's obviously like growth percentage goals that we've set for income. We have goals for overall membership, and we have goals for new products that we're launching. So we've got, a new nutrition app coming out. We've got a new educational system where it'll be like an online platform. We're trying to do a little bit more on the end of education and working with gyms and being able to maybe running our shred challenge through gyms and licensing it to them, being able to have them come through and learn our system so that they can, create new streams of revenue and add new, features and products to their current offerings because the whole landscape is kind of shifting towards what we're doing, at least in the CrossFit space. You're starting to see more hypertrophy training, performance aesthetics, right? And we were lucky that we were kind of early in there, but to be able to stay ahead, we have to keep pushing and outperforming. So those are kind of our big goals for 2024. And then eventually our goal would be to stop at a point, to like not have to be working 12, 15-hour days. Although I love what I do and it's really, really awesome. We would love to get it to the point where we have a management team in place and be able to kind of install people so that we have time to pursue other projects eventually, or just have more time. But pursuing business is very similar to sports, right? It's like
Mhm.
this grand, ambitious endeavor. You wake up every morning, and you have a purpose and a goal, and you're striving. And having purpose is so important. It makes you feel like you're making every day count for something. I think the worst thing in the world is waking up and just not knowing what to do. I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
terrible to me. You want to make sure you make use of your time on this earth and affect people in a positive way, bring good things into the world and be able to leave your mark and hopefully leave it as a better place than when you came into it. So yeah, it's a fun adventure.
Awesome. No, I love this podcast. I know a lot of people are going to, learn a lot from this. And this has been one of my favorite conversations I've had. So Dave, I really appreciate you hopping on here. If you have any further questions for me outside of this, feel free to hit me up. I'm always here. And it was really great to connect with you. And yeah, awesome. I'm looking forward to, seeing what you're doing on your Instagram, keep following you and see what you're doing in 2024.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you having me
Awesome.
on, Cannon. And
Yes,
again,
sir.
very, very nice to speak with you. A young dude like you, highly successful. You're kind of like a rising star. So I'm gonna keep my eye on you and see where you go. You'll be like the next Alex Hermosi.
Exactly, exactly. You have a great one, man. Nice to
All
meet
right.
you. Yes,
See ya.
sir. Peace out.